Good morning. And welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Jeffrey Jacoby, and I'll be your worship assistant this morning. We are so glad you are here. Whoever you are, and wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, wherever you were born, whatever language you speak, you are welcome here. Whatever the color of your skin, your background, or your abilities, you are welcome here. We are so grateful that you chose to spend this morning here with our Emerson congregation. We come together in worship to slow down, listen deeply, and to open ourselves to the calling of our hearts, our spirits. If you're here in person, we invite you to join us for social time following the service for light refreshments. Our main fellowship hall is downstairs, directly behind the sanctuary. You can reach it through the hallway, out this door and down this hallway. And then we also have our family-friendly fellowship hall with snacks and activities for all ages, and that's upstairs in room 214. And it is accessible by the staircases or the elevator. After fellowship time, please join us for religious exploration and small group gatherings as listed on the back of your order of service. There's always lots to do after the service, so make sure you check the back there to see what we'd like to participate in. And it is such a joy to be together here in community. Our chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our commitment to be a beacon of love in the world. Xander Raven is going to join us for our chalice lighting, so thank you very much, Xander, for lighting the chalice for us as we hear these words from the Dalai Lama. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Thank you, Xander. And now, in the spirit of love and the beloved community, let's share our congregational affirmation. We need not think alike to love alike. Now, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day. Those in the sanctuary, please feel free to turn to your neighbors and offer greetings. And for those online, please use the chat to introduce yourself. Oh, a lot of nice greeting going on. That's always good to see. For today's service, Emerson's own Buddhist group has prepared the message for today, and we'll be sharing it, and it will be shared actually by Richard Skoonberg. Richard has been a practicing Buddhist for over 20 years now, and has worked with many different Buddhist groups and teachers in different traditions. He practiced Zen meditation for 8 years at the Atlanta Soto Zen Center. In 2011, he left the Zen Center to be a founding member of Red Clay Sangha, a Buddhist meditation center in Atlanta. He has served as a teacher and board member for over 15 years. For the last 13 years, he has been a member of our own Buddhist meditation group, which he co-leads here with Ann Mason. So we welcome Richard today.
It's a great pleasure to be here today. I just have such deep gratitude for this place. Every Thursday for the last 13 years, I've been coming here and sitting with various members of the congregation. They come, they go, they come back. And it's been just a delightful way to be part of this community. And I always feel so welcome here. It's just wonderful. And I want to say thank you so much. I can't believe that I've been able to do it here for so long. And we've got a little meditation room that's dedicated to us. It's like a secondary sacred space within the sanctuary. And I am just so grateful. So if you'll all please rise for the next hymn as we join together in song, hymn 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. And thank you.
And now we pause and reflect on matters of the heart. Thank you, Xander, for joining me for the stones, putting the stones in for our ritual this morning. And we are going to light the Advent candle. Thank you, Xander. Sometimes it takes a second lighting. Awesome, thank you. For this morning's ritual, we have water and we have river stones. The stones are smooth and the stones have weight. They're indicative of both life's pleasures and times of ease, as well as life's burdens and times of heaviness. The water receives these stones with ease and calmness. Each week, you are invited to write a joy, sorrow, or concern in this book, or you can email it to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org to be read and to be shared with the congregation. We begin by placing 3 stones. One, in honor of the Cherokee and Muskogee nations of indigenous peoples whose land we reside on. A second, in memory for those wrongly enslaved here who labored on this land. And a third one, for all of those hurting in current conflicts across our globe. Within our community, we share that from Karen Pitchett, my husband Mike spent 4 nights in the ICU for an adrenal crisis in mid-November. The doctors were able to resolve the issue with medications and he was home and feeling much better. But just 10 days later, he suffered a heart attack and cardiac arrest on Thanksgiving Day. They were able to stabilize him and place 2 stents. After 5 more days in the ICU, Mike was discharged and is now home. He is healing again, but has a weakened heart and another blockage that will need stenting when he is strong enough. His cancer treatments have also been put on hold to allow his heart to heal. Because of Mike's resilience and the amazing staff at both Northside Cherokee and North Fulton Wellstar, our family truly was given a reason to be thankful this November. The joy in all of this is that Mike is home with us, spending a restful December and holiday season. But please still send healing thoughts to Mike and our family as he continues to recover. From Chris, Ayana, Amara, and the entire Lobe family, are devastated to share the news of the passing of Albert Lobe, Chris's father. He left us peacefully on Thanksgiving afternoon, surrounded by family and music. And now I have a joy from Annabelle. Today is Lindsay Tomick's birthday. So happy birthday, Lindsay. And from Debbie Ballou, concerned that I have had more days with migraines over the last 3 months. A joy, though, I will be retiring on 12/31 of this year and will no longer have to look at screens for 9 to 10 hours a day. Well, that's good news. Hey, Debbie. And we have another one from Crystal Ramos, a concern that my grandmother was officially diagnosed with dementia this week. Very sorry to hear that. And Xander, if you would place one more stone, please, and this stone will be placed in honor of all the things that we've left unspoken, things that are still in our hearts that are too tender to share out loud, but that you have in your hearts now, and that stone is for that. And now, in thankful awareness, let's say the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness. Please read the words with me that are printed on the back of the OOS. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be.
Good morning. My name is Ann Mason, and I'm a member of the Buddhist Meditation Group and also the Social Justice Leadership Team. The offering that we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to our faith. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something that we value. Our offerings help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to bring more love to the world. Each week, our offering is equally shared between our congregation and our partner organization. This month, which is a short month, we're partnering with CAPAS, Community Accompaniment Program with Asylum Seekers. Throughout history and across borders, people have found ways to accompany and support those who are at risk of persecution. CAPUS, which was founded by the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, UUSC, assists individuals and families seeking safety to overcome obstacles throughout the process of obtaining legal asylum in the United States. CAPUS accompanies asylum seekers on their journey to freedom, promoting solidarity with people seeking refuge from persecution. Emerson and UUMN, Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North, have joined together to form a CAPUS Circle of Care group to accompany a family of 4 living in Marietta. The money we raise will be used to help them as they navigate the very difficult route of asylum. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org, select the Giving tab to donate. And for the children among us, or big kids, there are lollipops in the basket too. We thank you for your generosity.
Good morning. We're loud. I can use my quiet voice, right? All right, so can I have the young and the young at heart come join me up here for our story for all ages? Look at all these people coming up here. Good morning. It is so nice to see you all. All right, Mr. Gregory is here to tell us our story today.
Sure. Hey everyone, this is a story called Wabi Sabi, and it's about a cat. So, Wabi Sabi was a cat who lived in Kyoto, Japan. One day, visitors from another country asked Wabi Sabi's master what her name meant. It had never occurred to her before that Wabi Sabi was anything more than her name. Wabi Sabi watched as her master drew breath through her teeth, shook her head, and said, "That's hard to explain." The cat's tail twitching, she watches her master still, waiting in patience. Curious now, Wabi Sabi wondered if her friend Snowball could explain the meaning of her name. Snowball, who had been napping, stretched, yawned, and sighed. "That's hard to explain," she blinked. "It's a kind of beauty," she added after a minute, her eyes closing again. As though dreaming, she went on. "An old straw mat, rough, on cat's paws pricks and tickles, hurts and feels good." Do any of y'all have cats? Nice. That's a lot of cat owners. Cool.
I used to have
Really? Nice. Hope you get another one. Then Snowball went back to sleep. Wabi Sabi wasn't sure she understood, but she didn't want to bother Snowball anymore. So she asked Rascal the dog if he knew about Wabi Sabi. Rascal was smart, but kind of mean. "That's too hard to explain to someone like you," he snapped. Then, almost to himself, he said, "Poor Wabi Sabi. As simple as a brown leaf, so ordinary." Y'all see him? That's Snowball. Pretty snowy. Or that's not Snowball, that's, yeah. Okay, now I'm even more confused, sighed Wabi Sabi. "Am I beautiful or ordinary? Can anyone explain Wabi Sabi to me?" she cried. A bird flying by thought the question was for her. "That's hard to explain," she said to Wabi Sabi, "but there is someone who can help you. His name is Kosho, and he lives on Mount Hai to the east. A wise old monkey living among the pine trees knows Wabi Sabi." "Thank you," said Wabi Sabi, and off she went to learn what her name meant. To get to Mount Hai, she went to cross through the city, dazzled by big buildings, shiny glass, and sleek cars, awed by the busy, sharply dressed people. She wondered if these pretty things could be Wabi Sabi. She decided that if her name was true to her, it must be softer, quieter, darker. Even in cities, before the shock of new light, the colors of dusk. A short time after Wabi Sabi entered the woods, she arrived at the foot of Mount Hai. The woods were dark now, so hoping to find Kosho in the morning, she curled up beneath an old pine tree and went to sleep. She awoke to the sounds of a stick stirring and tapping, a warm bowl of tea, offered by a monkey. "Please," steam rising gently. Very glad to have the tea and company, she said, "Thank you, my name is Wabi Sabi." "That's wonderful," the monkey replied. Encouraged, she asked, "Do you know what that means?" "Well, that's," he began. "I know, hard to explain," she said, but he went on. "The pale moon resting on foggy water. Hear that splash? A frog just jumped in." See that frog? "That's Wabi Sabi," she asked. "Is that all?" "I don't know if I can. It's more," said the monkey. "Listen, watch, feel." He said no more, so she watched him make tea. He moved slowly but gracefully, as if he were dancing, and he handled his things as if they were gold, although they were wooden or clay. Wabi Sabi felt what was in her paws, a warm, heavy bowl, comfortable as an old friend, not fine, smooth china. She looked carefully at the woods surrounding them. There was so much life as in their city, but here things were not clean, neat, or sharp-edged. There were no straight lines, yet there were many designs on trees and clouds and dirty ponds. She saw that everything was alive and dying, too, like the damp autumn leaves curled beneath their feet. Have y'all seen a lot of leaves change colors and falling off the trees lately? Mm-hmm. It's kind of pretty, but it's also like they're going away pretty quick, right? Yeah, they're all over the place. "Simple things are beautiful," she heard the monkey say as he poured more tea for her, looking down at the tea in her bowl. Seeing herself plain and beautiful, she whispered, "Now I understand." After some time, Wabi Sabi thanked her new friend and started back for her home. Because, it's a pretty big house. Because she did not hurry, she found a place called Ginkakuji, the Silver Temple. It's actually a big temple. There was nothing silver there, though, but she found the place to be very beautiful in a wabi-sabi kind of way. Although the buildings and gardens were shaped by humans, they were neither fancy nor grand. Moved by the natural simplicity of the place, Wabi Sabi composed 3 short poems about what she saw. And these little poems we've been reading, they're called haikus. So I'm going to read 3 really quick haikus for y'all. Yellow bamboo stalks bow by tea house doors so slow. Emperors must kneel. Dark buildings floating sit on white sand seas, a stream. sweeps small stones chanting. The monk returns leaves to just raked sand. This humble cat might understand. Tired but glad, Wabi Sabi returned at last to her house. She curled up on the straw mat in the kitchen, enjoyed the warmth there. She could smell the wind in her fur and feel her long journey's steps deep in her bones. The sun's last rays stretched. A silver brushstroke shivers on warm clouded glass. Now I think I know what to call this feeling, she said to herself. It's Wabi Sabi. In case y'all didn't guess it. Wabi Sabi, cried her master, seeing her. Where have you been? That's hard to explain, she purred. Feeling simply and beautifully at home. And that's it.
Great story. Yes.
Have you all ever heard of haikus before? Has anyone ever heard of haiku? Can one person tell me like what the pattern is? Do you really know? How do you write a haiku?
I'm making them in my school.
Oh, nice. So what's the pattern?
There's is it 8 or 9 syllables, and then for the first.
You're close. I think she might know. What do you know? Yeah, go.
It's 5 syllables for the first one, 7 syllables for the next one, and then 5 again.
That's right. It's exactly it. So it goes 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for the second line, and then 5 syllables for the third. And they don't have to rhyme. You can make them rhyme if you want. But y'all can write your own haikus and kind of think about wabi sabi. Maybe y'all can challenge yourselves to do that today. Think about something in nature. It's usually about nature is what you want to write a haiku about. So thank you guys for letting me share a story with y'all today. So have a good morning.
All right. So before we go, remember, before we sing our song of dedication, the words are on the back of your program, and you're welcome to join with us. And anyone 7 and under, I will meet you at the back, and we can go to the room, the playroom.
Now we've come to our time of meditation. So please get comfortable in your seat and sit up straight, but not stiff, relaxed. You can place your hands in your lap or on your knees or wherever they're comfortable. And you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze. Feel the gravity pulling you into your seat. Inhale, and as you exhale, let your body relax even more. Now breathe comfortably, inhaling and exhaling through your nose if you can. And be aware of your breathing. Feel the cool air as you breathe in through your nostrils, and the warm air as you breathe out. Breathe in love. Breathe out peace. Breathe in love. Breathe out peace. And continue to breathe slowly and intentionally. Be aware of your surroundings now. Feel the energy of the people around you. is a common translation for the word tanha, which literally means thirst and is also translated as desire, clinging, greed, craving, or lust. Because we and the world are imperfect, impermanent, and not separate, we are forever clinging to things, each other, and ourselves in a mistaken effort at permanence. Besides tanha, there is dosa, which means avoidance or hatred. Hatred is its own kind of clinging. And finally, there is avijja, ignorance, or the refusal to see. Not fully understanding the impermanence of things is what leads us to cling in the first place. 3, attachment can be overcome. Perhaps the most misunderstood term in Buddhism is the one that refers to the overcoming of attachment, nibbana. It literally means blowing out, but is often thought to refer to either a Buddhist heaven or complete nothingness. Actually, it refers to letting go of clinging, hatred, and ignorance, and the full acceptance of imperfection, impermanence, and interconnectedness. 4, there is a path for accomplishing this. There is a path called Dhamma. Buddha called it the middle way, which is understood as meaning the middle way between such competing philosophies as materialism and idealism, or hedonism and asceticism. This path, this middle way, is elaborated as the Eightfold Path.
So, the Four Noble Truths. For Buddhists, December 8th, tomorrow, is Rahatsu, the day of Buddha's awakening. It's also known as Bodhi Day. Before he had awakened, the Indian prince, Gautama Sakyamuni, was raised in a world of wealth and luxury. But in his mid-20s, he became dissatisfied with his life as a prince. So he renounced all that and became a wandering ascetic, wearing the poor robes of a mendicant or a spiritual seeker, begging for food and becoming a student of different spiritual practices of the time, and traveling to meet the great teachers of his time as well. He was seeking a way to release himself from suffering, to discover the truth of our existence, and to be truly free. Each teacher he worked with would see the former prince as a remarkable student, capable of great insight. But when they had taught the future Buddha everything that they knew, Gautama, dissatisfied, would seek out another teacher in an effort to uncover the wisdom he saw. This went on for a number of years. Toward the end of his search, he was traveling with 5 other wandering mendicants, all who decided to mortify the flesh in an effort to free their spirits from the body. The story has it that Gautama ate 1 grain of rice a day and became so emaciated he was nothing but skin and bones. You could see his spinal cord, his spine from the front of his body. He was so emaciated. That's how he's portrayed artistically. But at this point, he gave in and decided that starving himself to death was not the spiritual path. And so he left his 5 companions and went to a local village in his weakened state. On the way, he met a young girl who offered him rice porridge and fed him and helped him recover a little bit. And then he was aided by a young, untouchable boy who was a cowherd. And together with the young girl, they cared for the emaciated and ragged future Buddha. After he recovered, he decided that having traveled as an ascetic for 7 years, he would just sit under the fig tree and not leave until he was awakened. On the 7th day, after a long night of meditation, Gautama Sakyamuni looked up and saw the morning star and became enlightened, and realized the deep interconnection is with all things. He said, "How marvelous! I, the earth, and all beings are naturally and completely enlightened." He became the Buddha, which translated means enlightened one. At first, he was hesitant to share this insight that he had because he felt it was too complex to share with people. But finally, he was convinced that maybe some people would understand. So when he decided he was going to share what he had experienced, he ventured into the nearest village, and the 5 former companions spotted him. They were disappointed with Gautama, who had given up and gone off on his own. But when they noticed something different about him. A change in his step, a lightness of being. And when they encountered the Buddha, he informed them of his awakening. At this point, he offered his first teaching, the Four Noble Truths. The first teaching is the fundamental teaching of all of Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths. 1, life is suffering. I mean, what an opening gambit, huh? God, life is suffering. This chases Westerners away. Maybe that's a good thing. No, actually, there's a good news story here. You are not alone in your suffering. Everyone suffers, no matter what Facebook says. Elon Musk suffers. We've all seen that. What's the cause of suffering? That's the second noble truth, the cause of suffering. Well, what comes to mind? War, poverty, disease. Well, you're not touched by this, right? So, how are you suffering? We'll get to that. The cessation of suffering is the third noble truth. You think that might be right up there with world peace, huh? The cessation of suffering? But it's personal. It's not world peace. So what did the Buddha teach? He summed up his teaching this way. He said, I teach suffering and the end of suffering. But what do you mean by suffering exactly? So, as Anne mentioned before, the original Pali word was dukkha. And this is often translated as suffering, or it's translated as anguish or dissatisfaction. But my favorite definition comes from a Buddhist teacher named Judith Regier. She describes suffering this way. There is a continuum of pain, starting from small dissatisfactions to great pains of loss, failure, sickness, and death. And then she provides a list of dukkha. Faint unsettledness, that's suffering. Irritation, impatience, annoyance, frustration, disappointment, aggravation, stress, anxiety, fixation, vexation, pain, desperation, sadness, misery, agony, anguish, and yes, suffering. Buddha said that even a moment of happiness can be tinged with suffering. Now, when I read this, I thought of the last time I had a chocolate truffle. There's a little place down the street that sells these amazing chocolate truffles. And you've got this chocolate truffle in your hand. And you stick it in your mouth, right? And it just explodes with flavor. It's so wonderful. And then you get to the last bite and you realize it's the last bite. Little tinge of suffering there with that happiness. So Judith Regier continues. She says, observing myself, it is quite shocking to see that all the small, never-ending satisfactions. For example, the first hour of my day may run like this. The alarm clock is too loud. I want to sleep longer. Out of the covers, it's too cold. The bathroom's dirty and disorganized. And where's the toothpaste? It's not where I left it. On and on ad nauseum. Now, does that sound familiar? Sound like our kind of day-to-day life? So today I'm going to talk suffering, dukkha. I might interchange the words, but I mean the same thing. So Buddhist teachings tell us to really examine this dukkha in our lives. Like you probably never thought about that your suffering could be as simple as, there's no milk for my coffee. Buddha described pain and suffering as the two arrows. The first arrow is pain. The second error is our reaction to pain, which is the negative thoughts and emotions we call suffering, that reaction. Pain is inevitable. We're all going to feel pain. It's an important bodily thing. It tells us stuff about what's going on in our bodies. But suffering is manageable because we can relearn how to manage our reaction to pain. The pain of not seeing where your toothpaste is, the pain of loss, the whole range. Often our reaction to pain includes a story as well. So dukkha is an everyday thing. Have you ever been so sick that you thought, this might be it, I'm gonna die? And it turned out to be nothing serious at all. I spent 4 days in the hospital over a holiday weekend because of that. So the stories we tell ourselves, oh, that second arrow. Suffering is manageable. And if managed, suffering arises and is let go. Pain is inevitable, but it's also impermanent as well. It comes and goes. But often when suffering's not managed, and I know this from my own experience, the story of our pain becomes a thought pattern. It's important. The story of our pain becomes a thought pattern. And it's replayed over and over in your head. And you can personalize it. You can own it. You can make it part of your identity. Have any of you experienced this before? Like when you really screw up and you can't stop thinking about how badly you screwed up over and over again? That might last a lifetime for some people. So the first step to notice that you are suffering in some sort of discomfort and telling yourself the story about it. Why me, God? Why me? Do you ever compare yourself to others? Do you ever feeling like you're not measuring up? Not feeling good enough? Well, it happens to me. I'm sure it happens to maybe a few of you out there. When this negative self-talk arises, like, how could you possibly say that to that person? What did you do? And when that stuff arises in me, that voice in my head becomes very, very critical of me. I'm reminded of a bumper sticker I saw on the way to Blue Ridge on a car. And it said, "Don't believe everything you think." A little bit of Buddhist wisdom there, man. Then there's, let's see, oh yeah, skip the page here. The point is that the thoughts in your head are not you. Now that's a really interesting idea, huh? The thoughts in your head are not you. You're much greater than your thoughts. Your brain is an organ that gushes thoughts, much like your gallbladder gushes bile. So that's dukkha. So what causes dukkha? And the second noble truth. The common cause of suffering is attachment to desire, clinging, craving, and lust. We have a perpetual desire in ourselves as human beings for personal pleasure in our lives. We pursue happiness in sensual pleasures. We believe that acquiring certain things will bring us lasting happiness. But none of this is lasting happiness. Everything is impermanent. We suffer when we cling to things or relationships that are changing because we labor under this illusion of impermanence. We live in an impermanent universe. Think about it. It's exploding. God, it's everywhere. So we believe we can control our little universe as we see on Facebook, but it's just an illusion. The opposite is true as well. We have things we don't want, and it would be nice if they would just go away. Like I have a garage full of stuff, and I'd like to get rid of it. When I mentioned this to my wife, she said, "I have a garage in my head full of stuff I'd like to get rid of." All this leads to this basic understanding that pervades, this basic unsatisfactoriness that pervades our lives. Because literally everything is changing and impermanent. There's a lack of satisfaction. There's a sense of feelings don't measure up to our expectations or standards. feelings of longing, not good enough, feelings of scarcity, wanting to be saved, wanting to be loved. Then there's a suffering caused by just living in the world. I mean, there's physical and mental suffering associated with birth, growing old, illness, death. And here's a story from the Buddha I want to share. This is from the Suttas. It speaks to this kind of dukkha. This short little story here. Kisa Gautami was the wife of a wealthy man in the time of the Buddha. Her story is one of the most famous stories in the Buddha's canon. After losing her only child, Kisa Gautami became desperate and clung to the body of her infant as she asked if anyone could help bring her child back to life. Her sorrow was so great that many thought she'd lost her mind. Then she met an old man who told her to see the great wise man called the Buddha. Maybe he could help her. So she went to see the Buddha. He told her he could bring her child back to life if she could find white mustard seeds from a family where no one had died. So Kisa Gautami was desperate and went from house to house in search of such a case. But to her disappointment, she could not find a home that had not suffered the death of a family member. Finally, the realization struck her that there was no home free from death. She returned to the Buddha, who comforted her, and instructed her on the path. Because of her deep insight into impermanence, she achieved enlightenment and became one of his foremost disciples. Now, Buddha knew he couldn't bring the child back to life because he understood the truth of impermanence, but in his compassion, he didn't turn away Kisa Gautami or tell her she was mistaken. No, instead, he gave her a simple task to do, to find some mustard seeds and bring them back to him. He knew it was an impossible task, but he wanted her to realize on her own that she was not alone in her suffering and would be able to move on. So when there's deep suffering such as trauma, it's hard to move on. The physical pain of trauma can show up any time, night or day. And the memory that's replayed is a nightmare. We can never blame trauma on someone. We should never judge another person's suffering, no matter how insignificant it seems to us. We should view it with an open heart and an open, non-judgmental mind. And that describes compassion. So what is a cessation of suffering? We won't wait for this one. What's a cessation of suffering? The cessation of suffering is found in the acceptance of things the way they are. Even if they're physically or emotionally difficult and painful. This is necessary to letting go. It doesn't mean that we can't affect change, but first we must accept that things the way they are and take a pause. Recently I had an appointment with an eye doctor for an eye exam, and she informed me that I have macular degeneration. And I might go blind. Blind? That set my head spinning. I was really I do photography. That's my hobby. I couldn't do photography. How would I navigate my way in the world? So I told this to a friend of mine who is blind, and that way from birth. And he replied, "Don't worry, I'll help you out." Made me feel a lot better. By the way, he traveled to India alone and went to all the holy sites as a blind man. So he knows how to do it. I heard this next story from a staff member at Children's Hospital. The hospital offers summer camps for long-term patients with different disabilities. One of the camps was for kids with missing limbs. There was a teenage girl who recently lost her arm in an auto accident. And it was just a couple months back, and she was at the camp for the first time. She was struggling to tie her hair in a ponytail. Now just think about that. That's a little thing. But what that must have felt like to a little teenage girl trying to tie her hair in a ponytail. What kind of thought she'd have? you know? But then a 7-year-old girl who'd always been missing an arm came up to her and said, "Here, let me show you how to do it. Flip, flip, flip. There, see?" The end of suffering. In that moment, the end of suffering is a moment-to-moment thing. It just doesn't come at all at once. Maybe wait the end of lots of practice. But suffering is a moment-to-moment thing. Here's a poem by Rumi, the poet, the Sufi poet. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a desperation, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if there are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep into your house and empty it of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So, how do we not have suffering? So when you're in a state of frustration, sadness, physical pain, and you're just beginning to get upset, take a pause and smile. Now, that sounds wild, doesn't it? Even if you feel like, just grab your fingers, make yourself smile. Smile, smile, damn it, smile. Why smile? It's brilliant. This is brilliant. My insight teacher taught us this one. Why smile? Because it's a mental reset. It stops the story. It interferes. It's wonderful. And here's what Vietnamese Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who was one of the great bodhisattvas of our time, says about smiling. He says, smiling is not enough. Suffering is not enough. Life is both dreadful and wonderful. How can I smile when I'm filled with so much sorrow? It's natural. You need to smile to your sorrow because you are more than your sorrow. Smiling to your sorrow. It's like, wow, that's great. Another approach is to put the moment into a larger context, such as, will this impact my life 5 years from now? In many cases, that's all needs to be done to move beyond that everyday dukkha. And sometimes we need to take a closer look at the cause. We need to investigate. Importantly, what's my body feeling? Because the body is that feels the pain, and the mind gets the suffering, but the pain is what's important. You have to kind of go experience the pain and let it move on. Touch it gently. Maybe come back to it. And that often is the way. Or you listen, you go, is this story I'm telling myself true? Is it a true story? Often it's not. So here's another quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. There are many things we can do. For example, we have an idea like, if I don't have that, I will never feel happy. But if we can rid ourselves of those ideas, happiness will naturally flood in. Joy and happiness will suddenly flood in. Our ideas, our perceptions can also be the causes of our pain and suffering. So we should examine whether we have any ideas or perceptions or prejudices or stereotypes that need to be let go. The more one can let go, the happier one becomes. And the last of the Four Noble Truths is the Noble Eightfold Path, the path of practice. How to stop creating more suffering in your life. This includes right understanding, right aspiration, right action, right livelihood, right speech, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These practices are designed to develop compassion, ethical conduct, and wisdom. So in closing, what's the value of this to you? When you become aware of the truth of suffering in yourself, we begin to see it more clearly in others. And in seeing the suffering in ourselves, we become more understanding and compassionate with others. And being truly compassionate, we can free others from their suffering. So start working on the small stuff. It'll help later with the big stuff. What? No milk in my coffee? Dear God. This is a bill I didn't expect. Duca. God. Who does that driver think he is? Duca. So start with the small stuff. Thank you. Any bows?
So we're running a little overtime, so we're going to go ahead and skip the final hymn. And Richard, you had some closing words?
So, the closing words I have today are from Ralph Waldo Emerson. The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you lived and lived well. Thank you, Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Thank you, Richard. And now for our chalice extinguishing. Xander, would you join me to be putting out the candle, the chalice? We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Thanks, Xander. And now I believe Patty has a quick announcement.
Very quickly, I'm Patty Haynes. I'm a member of the Committee on Healthy Ministries. We're taking a survey. You'll see it's on the back of your order of service. I want to ensure that you know that we want to know what you really think. Okay, thank you.
And next week, make sure you come back because it's the annual Emerson Christmas pageant with the kids and youth. There's music. There are some amazing sets that Ebony made and Nikki worked on it. And there's been a lot of really high-level people working on this pageant this year. Music from Bruce and Michael and all the kids. There's a huge cast. I think there's like 35 or 36 in the cast. It's going to be a really, really good show. It's called Winter Cake. And I think you should definitely be here. Do not miss it. It'll be really fun. And now, as our service ends, go in peace and take peace wherever you go.